in the elements of East Rutherford, New Jersey. Sports Talk 790. Brought to you by Moore's Marinades and Sauces and the Low Tea Center.
I know there was some stories put out earlier this week about you're going to try to give it one more go in the NFL. Is that right?
I am. I'm not officially retiring. I had a season-ending injury in training camp with the Steelers. I tore my rotator cuff, and I've never really been injured before. That really required me to miss any extended period of time.
Yeah.
So it's been a little difficult because I wanted to go back to Pittsburgh and have an impact and play another season. So. I'm gonna continue to rehab. I'm about 4 or 5 months out from being 100%. There's still a lot of work ahead of me, and I'll make a decision based on how I feel.
When's the right time the agent starts lobbing the phone calls? Hey, he wants to come to camp. Do you know when that's going to be?
No, I don't. But at the same time, I'm 36. I'll be 37 in August. And, all good things come to an end, obviously, playing in this, this great business.
Yeah.
And if I never play again, then, I've done just about everything that I've set out to do.
It's hard, being 36, 37 years of age, to try to sell a team. So what have you been doing in terms of working out and to say, you know what, I got a lot left in that tank?
I mean, I think it really said a lot, last spring when the Steelers signed me on the first day of free agency. I mean, we had some guys left on the books that were, clearly better than me, at their age point. And so, they wanted, somebody big to go out and, create some mismatch and go out and make score touchdowns in the red zone, and that was me. And they bought me in halfway through the season last year, the year before, back in 2012. And so they saw some good things, and they signed me on the first day of free agency, and I worked really hard. But it just didn't really happen the way that we wished it to going into this last season.
Plaxico Burress joining us here on the Matt Thomas Show for a couple of minutes. Who do you work out with? Because there's one thing working with a trainer, but to get yourself in football condition and going against competition, who do you work with?
I mean, you can't really get yourself into football shape. I've always said that you can't you can't emulate this game as far as when it comes to training. But I train down in South Florida at Bomarito. Pete Bomarito, he's a great trainer. You look at all the great athletes that he trains year in and year out, and you see those players at the top of their game, every year. And he's a great trainer. I think he's the best in the world. And it speaks volumes about the guys that go down there, every offseason. I've been going to Pete since 2006, and every year I've just continued to get better and better. And I will go back and starting in April and May, and start hooking it once again, and give it a go.
Every Super Bowl memory about the game leading up to it, the game itself, still pretty vivid in your brain?
I mean, how could it not? You talking about living out a childhood dream. How many kids, throw the football up in the air and walk down the street and throw it up, catch it, count down the seconds and say, I won the game.
Right.
And I was blessed enough to really live out that dream. And every day somebody asks me about it. It doesn't matter where I'm at. And it's just, it's gratifying, and, to know that, people recognize it. And it's a moment that I will obviously never forget. And, it's just, it'll never go away.
So the night before, could you sleep, get a good night's rest? I mean, because look, you've played in plenty of big games in your life, national stage, but there's nothing like having 300 million people looking at you.
Well, actually, the night before the game, I called the trainer about 2 o'clock in the morning, and I was like, you need to come up here. And they didn't know I had hurt my knee, slipping in the shower. So I had like a grade 2 MCL sprain.
You didn't tell anybody, did you?
And nobody knew.
Good. Well, yes, you got to keep those secrets, don't you?
Yeah, nobody knew, and I couldn't even cut right in the game. I was hurting so bad that I couldn't even cut right.
Right.
Nobody never knew because I kind of just kept it to myself, and I just willed myself to play. I didn't want to leave my teammates hanging, and like I said, man, the rest is history.
Before I let you run, and I appreciate coming up for a few minutes, if this was your last go-around and camp doesn't work out and you don't find a team, well, how long does it take? Have you got yourself prepared for life after football? Have you figured out what you want to do?
I own my own sock company. It's called the Plaxico Burress Collection. You can get you some socks on the website, www.plaxicoburresscollection.com.
You're obviously a good marketer.
And, I'm in one store in New York City, in Harlem Haberdashery. So, My brand is, becoming, it's getting to where I want it to get, and obviously the goal is to become a global brand. It takes time, and I'm passionate about my socks. I love them, and it doesn't feel like work every day. So, I'm gonna continue to, try to get into this fashion.
Why socks? I'm curious.
I've always been, outspoken and, flamboyant about my socks. 10 out of 10 times the socks have nothing to do with my outfit. I want them to be loud, as funky, and comfortable as they possibly can be. And I just got tired of buying all the Richard James and the Paul Smiths. And I said, you know what? With all the socks that I've bought over the years, I could have been starting my own company. And that's what I did. I started it about 2 years ago. I launched in March here in New York City. And it's picking up and it's going good.
Well, Plex, it's good to see you back out there. I know you want to try one more go of it.
Right.
Is there a dream team? Would you want to go back to Steelers if you could?
I'm not just going to just go anywhere just to play football. There are a couple places that I would like to go play, and obviously the Steelers are at the top of the list.